What
Yes.
do you do at QVC? Like, what do you have to do when somebody says, yes, you can sell your product?
Yeah. So, okay, I learned I had to sell over 6,000 units of this product to hit their sales goal in the 10-minute window.
In 10
In
minutes?
10 minutes or not come back. And remember, we're only selling two or three orders a day, right? So I go to 20 banks trying to get a loan to fund the inventory to do this. 22 banks said no. The 23rd bank, California Bank and Trust, gave us a loan for just the amount to cover this purchase order and a little bit more to get my one shot on QVC. I learned it's a consignment offer, which means if I don't sell it, I don't get paid. I have to take it all back, right? And everything was on the line. And here's the story about the power of your authenticity, about knowing you're not crazy, you're just first. Because in that moment, I had been told no so many times, right? And we start to doubt, oh, right, that lie. Do things like this possibly happen for people like me? So we figured it all out. I get there. All of these third-party consultants are saying, okay, if you want to do well, here's what you need to do.
You're not crazy, you're just first. All right, I want you to hear me out on this because this is a life-changing concept and it's also true. So you might be thinking, what do you mean I'm first? I'm not the first to do anything. My ideas, someone's already done them, that kind of thing. I bet someone's done them better than I have. All right, I want you to just take this in for a minute because when you embrace your firstness, it not only helps build really, really strong self-worth, but it can change how bravely you show up in the world. It's who you truly are. It can change your perspective on whether or not you feel like you belong or not, whether or not you feel like people get you. Literally, it can help you realize that the things that you thought maybe were odd or quirky or off about you are actually almost always the things that are most right with you. So this idea, you're not crazy, you're just first. So hear me out. And I go into this really deep into how to embrace this fully and worthy. There's a whole chapter and a poem called You're Not Crazy, You're Just First. Here's the thing. There is only one of you in the entire universe. There's never been another you before. There'll never be another you again. And if you're saying, well, what's the big deal? Just think about this for a minute. You are the only one in existence with your fingerprints, right? You're the only one in existence with your tongue print. Yep, we all have a unique tongue print. You're the only one in existence with the iris of your eyes. You actually have a unique heartbeat that no one else in the world has, right? And think about this. You are the only one that has the set of experiences you've had in life. You're the only one to feel the emotions that you feel at any moment, exactly the way you feel them. You're the only one that sees art and beauty and ups and downs and highs and lows the way that you do. You, if you are one of the brave ones willing to actually show up in this world as who you authentically are, you're first. If you're one of the, now if you show up as your representative or try to be like someone else, etc., but if you're one of the brave ones, showing up as who you fully, authentically are, you are first. And when you are first, do not be surprised if not everyone gets it. Don't be surprised if you might walk into a few rooms and feel like you don't quite belong. Don't be surprised if you feel like someone just doesn't get you or you don't fit in. You're first. There's never been another you before. And there's never been, there never will be another you like you. This concept is huge because so many of us feel like, oh, I've got to change who I am to fit in. Or, people have been calling me odd or quirky or off or different or strange, right? Or crazy. You're not crazy. You're just first. You're just first. And here's the thing, when it comes to your ideas, your goals, your dreams, your art that you want to put out there in the world, your business that you launched or that you are in the process of launching, right? Don't be surprised if not everyone gets it at first. Because if you are doing, listen, I don't care how many people out there have done the idea before you. If you're doing it authentically to you, no one's ever done it, right? Like when I built It Cosmetics, there was thousands of makeup companies doing thousands of foundations and concealers, but no one had done it the way I was going to do it authentically to me. So by definition, that excuse of like, oh, someone's done my idea or something, it's impossible. If you bring who you authentically are to that idea, to that business, to that piece of art, to that expression, to that offering to the world, you're first. No one else has done it quite like you. So when it comes to your business or your ideas or your art, if you're putting it out there and you feel like it's not getting traction or you're not sure why, or maybe you're showing it to like experts and touted visionaries and you're wondering why they don't think it's going to succeed, here's why. I'll tell you why. Because when I built It Cosmetics, I was doing it so differently. Almost everybody told me it's not going to work. Like so many of the experts I put on pedestals said it's not going to work. And listen, they wanted the best for me. But even touted visionaries, even experts, subconsciously, they're not going to believe something's going to work if they've never seen it work before. If there's no social proof it's going to work. So if you're doing something that is authentic to you, they've never seen it work before because it's never been done. So it is, if I had learned this lesson, by the way, y'all, I would have saved myself so many nights crying myself to sleep. Like thinking like, why does everyone not think this idea is going to work, right? Many of us know the outcome. 8 years later, 100 weeks later, It Cosmetics grew to $1 billion business. But for many years, because I was doing it authentic to me, it wasn't working in the beginning. People didn't quite get it in the beginning. And a lot of experts said it would never, ever work. And so I want you to really take this to heart, okay? That when you are doing something authentic to who you are, it has never been done before. It has never been done before. And so you got to get really, really good at cheering yourself on, at believing in the offering you're putting out there into the world, whether it's in the form of just showing up as who you are and all that you are, whether it's in the form of a business or creation or ideas or art. You have to get really, really good at cheering yourself on, because what I have learned is most people will cheer you on after you make it. After the thing catches on, after people start embracing it. So in that journey, I want you to remember this. If you're doing something that you feel like others are like, I don't get it, doesn't quite fit in, you don't quite belong, right? You're different or odd or strange or crazy. You're not crazy. You're just first. And I just want to share one more thing. And again, there's a whole chapter in Worthy called You're Not Crazy, You're Just First. And we go deep into how to really look at your identity and build your self-worth around this. Because for so many of us, feeling like we are not enough and don't belong can take root at an identity level. I remember growing up, I have 5 families, I was adopted, it's a whole story. But I remember so many of my loving, well-intentioned family members would say things to me like, you're so odd or strange or crazy. I would have these big ideas on how to impact the world or, solve global problems. And I didn't even know what I was talking about at that point in my life, but I just had these big, dreams and ideas and thoughts. And they would literally, so many of them would always say like, you're crazy. Like, who do you think you are? Like, you're crazy, all that. And I remember there was this moment in my life when in my 20s, I had gone to therapy for the first time ever. And I literally asked my therapist, I'm like, I feel like, I don't fit in and sometimes I don't belong in the room and this and that. And I have these ideas. And she explained to me that when you are somebody who, especially is the first in your family, or first in your peer group, or first amongst the people you spend time around, or first amongst the people you were raised around, to have, to think differently, to actually be willing to show up as who you authentically are. Like, don't be surprised if you don't feel like you fit in because you're first. You're the first to truly, have the confidence and the self-worth to show up as all of who you are. And I just remember this moment that hit me like a light bulb, so powerful, the light bulb burst when I realized, oh, I'm not crazy, I'm just first. So I just want to share this with you today in case these words are for you. You're not crazy, you're just first. You're not odd, you're just first. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, the things you think are most odd or quirky or wrong with you are actually so often the things that are most right with you. The things that are most right with you. And when you're one of the brave ones who is willing to show up in this world as who you authentically are, you are first. So be the first, best, most quirky, odd, fully embracing, talented, gifted, like full expression, best ever, only you who are first.
I'm going to do a sneak peek read from a chapter of Worthy, How to Believe You Are Enough and Transform Your Life. Simple steps, life-changing results. Dedication. For the 80% of women who don't believe they're good enough. The 75% of female executives who face imposter syndrome. And the 91% of women who don't love their bodies. This book is for you. The time for change has come. Let's do this together. No girl, no woman, no person left behind. Worthy starts here. You become what you believe you're worthy of. Do you remember the first time, perhaps as a little kid, sitting in the classroom, that you knew the answer but decided not to raise your hand? With a slight pit in your stomach caused by the newly daunting awareness of other people's opinions, you debated raising your hand and going for it until you decided not to. And just like that, in a single moment, you began to live in a way that was incongruent with your soul's fullest expression. You doubted. You held back. You hid. You played it safe. You questioned whether you were wrong, even though you knew you were right. You questioned if you were smart enough. You questioned if you were enough. And now, fast forwarding to today, are you still the person who's not raising your hand when you know the answer? Are you still hiding just in case you're wrong, just in case you fail, or because you want to stay in your comfort zone of certainty? Now you're an adult who knows the answer, but inside, are you still that same little kid who doubts it? Maybe you're sitting silently in work meetings or in your daydreams, knowing you have a wild idea that just might be genius. Or are you languishing in an unhealthy friendship or relationship, knowing you're worthy of more, but not quite believing it enough to leave? Or you're the boss, but you're holding back from taking chances because deep down inside, you're afraid you're not strong enough to be a leader. Did you finally get that big break, that big promotion, that big increase, but you feel like an imposter, so you're playing it small? Maybe you really despise that other PTA mom, but you betray yourself and spend your precious free time hanging out with her. Maybe you're hustling and burned out while hiding that what you really need is rest. Maybe you're struggling with a health issue and losing faith in your body, your worth, and your creator. Do you feel unseen at your core and tell yourself the lie that life is better that way? Maybe you're working in a business, but you know you're born to run one. Maybe you're in an intimate partnership where your worthiness goes unrecognized, but you're afraid to be alone, so you're dimming your light and hiding from your truth. Maybe you're calling busyness a badge of honor when you're really using it to numb your feelings. Maybe you've been living by someone else's story of success for you because you're confusing approval with love. I've done that most of my life. Maybe you've decided that other people have already done what you can do better than you could do it, so you've been canceling yourself out of your own calling. Or maybe you've been showing up as who the world tells you to be, people-pleasing, for so long that you don't even remember who you are anymore. Self-doubt, unworthiness, and fear cause us to dim our soul's light and start playing it small, holding back, hiding, speaking only part of our truth, living only half of our life, expressing only part of our soul's true essence, craving the perception of belonging over authentic connection, craving validation and significance in a way that's defined externally, because we start to believe that these are the only paths to love, to belonging, and to worthiness. If any of these ring true for you, if you know at the deepest part of your being that you're only living as part of who you are, but you're holding back and doubting or hiding all of who you are, then you probably feel an inexplicable void in your life, an aching longing for something that's missing, an emptiness creating when others or even yourself don't know and therefore can't embrace the full authentic you, a disconnection from joy when no matter what you achieve, it doesn't bring the feeling of fulfillment you hoped it would, an unremitting feeling that you're not quite enough, a lack of feeling truly alive that you can disguise from the world with the ease of a smile. You're living your life hiding in plain sight. Okay, so maybe you're thinking like, whoa, we're going deep right off the top of the book. Yep, we're going there because your time is precious. And in this one beautiful life we each have, it's precious. And I'm not showing up to play small, especially because I'm going to ask you to show up fully in the pages to come. I wrote this book with the purest intention to give you everything I've got as an expression of love from my soul to yours. And each of us is on a journey toward believing, then truly knowing in every ounce of our being that we are fully worthy. Right? And here's the thing, y'all, exactly as we are, that's the key part. We're fully worthy exactly as we are. This is one of the most critical parts of achieving what Oprah Winfrey powerfully describes as the highest, truest expression of ourselves. And it's a huge step on the personal evolution of believing, then knowing that you, exactly as you are enough, valuable, and fully worthy of love and belonging. And you are. There's nothing that you have done or could ever do that changes that. But let's go there later because chances are if you're anything like I've been most of my entire life, you might not believe me just quite yet. Speaking of Oprah and speaking of hiding in plain sight, I want to share one of the greatest moments of my life, a moment that almost didn't happen and one that came after 4 years of me hiding because I didn't actually believe I was worthy of it. Oprah was my mentor from afar, the one I spent every weekday as a little girl, then later as an adult watching on TV. The one I dreamt of meeting my entire life and had this wild knowing deep inside that somehow I actually would. Quote, "This is what I know 100% for sure," Oprah said as she held up my first book, Believe It, to the camera. "You don't become what you want. You become what you believe." Y'all, I did everything in my power to keep my jaw from dropping open. She's holding in my book. She made jaw from dropping open, not to pee my pants, and to believe that this moment was real and was actually happening. You see, it almost didn't happen. In fact, many of the most significant moments in my life almost never happened because for years while my soul dreamed wildly big, bold dreams and imagined moments like this one with Oprah, I never thought they could actually happen because I didn't believe I was worthy of them ever actually happening. In fact, maybe you can relate to this. I have spent most of my life feeling like I wasn't enough and doubting myself out of my own destiny. No matter how vividly we visualize our goals and dreams, perhaps in relationships or in our careers or in our health, no matter if we even take action toward making them happen, if deep down inside we actually don't feel like we're deserving or worthy of those dreams and goals, then we won't achieve them. We'll stay stuck and never go for them. We'll talk ourselves out of them. We'll give up too soon or somehow sabotage them along the way. With some, but not strong self-worth, we might actually allow ourselves to feel worthy enough to achieving a big goal and dream. But when we do, we'll arrive shortly after still feeling empty, unfulfilled, and like something is missing. Has this ever happened to you? If you've ever experienced a sense of not enoughness, even if you know it's a lie, because it is, and you want to overcome it for good, this book is for you. If not enoughness feels like, your hidden twin, then we might just be long lost triplets. If you struggle with self-doubt and not feeling worthy, even if no one knows it but you, This book is for you. And I believe that one of the bravest and most important journeys that we are all on in this lifetime is learning the truth, which is that we are more than enough, and knowing and believing it in every part of our being. If this resonates with you, I've got your book and I've got your back. See, I believe the moment you learn to trust yourself, the moment you learn to trust yourself and believe that you are worthy is the moment your entire life, the past and future generations of your family, and our entire world changes for the better. It's only when you believe you are worthy of it, whether it's of having a healthy relationship, of receiving unconditional love, of celebrating your body, of sharing your ideas, of being in the room, of being on the stage, of leading the team, of having soul-filling friendships, or of living out your biggest hopes and wildest dreams, that your greatest life and destiny start to unfold. It is truly only when you learn to believe you are worthy of it. So y'all, here's the thing. As Oprah held up my book, I tried desperately to be present and stay in my body and to focus on the thousands of people watching us live as she and I taught the class together called The Life You Want. Please help me serve at the highest level I can. I prayed over and over because I've learned over the years that having an intention that's bigger than myself is the only way to get out of my own head. Before she even held up my book, I was already struggling to believe that I was actually teaching a class with the person I consider my mentor my entire life. It was the first time that she and I had ever done anything professional together. What Oprah and I knew, which the live audience didn't know that day, is that nearly 5 years earlier, when I met her in person for the first time and we had lunch together shortly after, she gave me her personal phone number. And you want to know what I did? I didn't call her for almost 4 years. Yep, Oprah, the one person I would have done anything to meet, the person I spent thousands of afternoons as a little girl watching from my living room all alone, the person who inspired much of my career, had given me her direct cell number, and I didn't call her for 4 years. Why? Well, I thought I knew why for a long time. See, as the months then years passed, I told myself stories that made sense. Stories like, you're not ready to call her yet. Or, everybody probably wants something from her. Play it cool so she knows you don't. Or, you don't have the perfect thing to say yet. When you do, you'll know, and then it'll be time to call her. Or if she gets to know you, this is a big one that I told myself so many times, if she gets to know you, she'll discover you're not as interesting, smart, funny, successful, cool, talented as she might think you are. Until one day, I realized the real reason I hadn't called Oprah, and I wasn't proud of it. I hadn't called her yet because deep down inside, I didn't believe I was worthy of it. I did not believe I was worthy of being her friend. Have you ever had moments like this in your life where you sabotaged an opportunity? Or didn't go for it at all because you didn't think you had what it takes? Maybe this is a reoccurrent theme for you in your life right now. And if it is, you're far from alone. I believe one of the most prevalent forms of cancel culture is one that no one talks about. It's us canceling ourselves before we even try. When I realized the real reason I hadn't called Oprah in 4 years, I felt a knowing. Feeling unworthy was not aligned with who I truly am and with the person I was created to be. See, my soul, all of our souls know. My soul knew I was worthy, but I let my thoughts and my mind's deep belief about my own unworthiness overpower my soul's knowing. Without realizing it, I was letting my feelings of unworthiness sabotage something I had dreamed of my entire life. When I had this realization almost 4 years after the day I got her number, I decided it was time to turn down the volume on my doubting mind and turn up the volume on the power of my soul and my soul's knowing. I decided to trust myself, the part that knows that I am worthy and you are too, and I dialed her number. I'll share more about this call later, but first, fast forward to May 2022. when I was teaching the class live alongside Oprah. I had been preparing tirelessly for months for this opportunity, but like all of our biggest moments in life, we've really been preparing our entire lives for them, right? Whether we know it or not. Because as Oprah teaches, and I fully believe, every step, this is important to hear, y'all, and take this in, every step, failure, victory, mishap, trauma, growth, blessing, lesson, and moment of grace has always been happening for us to prepare us so we can show up in each coming moment exactly as we're destined to. Even our setbacks are almost always setups for the path we're destined to take. As the live class began, I led the Oprah Daily audience through live exercises on how to build resilience, embrace rejection, stop hiding, and to learn to confidently step into all of who they are. Oprah and I shared stories and teachings. I was in such a state of flow that it felt like I was moving inside a space that had been divinely orchestrated. Then as Oprah held up my book again, and I tried not to fall out of my chair again, she said something that sent shockwaves that felt like truth through my body. Words that I believe capture the ultimate path so many of us are on, and even if we haven't discovered it yet. Words that capture why I wrote that book, and even more powerfully, why I wrote this one. Words I believe that if we embrace can change the course of our entire lives. She said, "You don't become what you want. You can have the greatest heart desire and work really so hard, but if you don't believe you are worthy, it will not come." That is the magic formula. In my life, I have learned to believe I'm worthy in stages, through ups and downs, big moments of knowing, and small steps toward believing. In our human experience, believing our worthiness is often a lifelong pursuit, and one of the most important ones we'll ever take. See, if I hadn't pursued building my self-worth, many of the moments in my life story so far would have never happened. The stories that the press loves to share about me usually say something like, Denny's waitress builds billion-dollar business. And while that's true, my real story is a girl who didn't believe in herself and learned how to. A girl who felt unworthy and often still does to this day, but who is hell-bent on learning to believe that she is. A girl who was placed into adoption at birth, but decided she was chosen and born not only on purpose, but with purpose. A girl who knows in her soul that at our core, we're all enough and we're all worthy of love. I'm a girl who knows that where we come from does not have to determine where we're going, and that making bad decisions in our past doesn't mean that we're bad. A girl who knows that the labels that others put on us and the ones that we put on ourselves are removable, not permanent. A girl who faced thousands of rejections for years when she was building her business, but chose to trust her gut and keep going anyways. A girl who had a knowing she'd one day meet Oprah, and then learned that we become what we believe when we finally believe in ourselves. A girl who had learned that she was worthy of being in the room, of launching a business, of being called CEO, of learning not to wait on her weight, of learning to love herself and learning to believe she's worthy of love. A girl who knows that we are not our past mistakes. We are our present and future intentions. Here's what I know to be true. And this is so important to take this in. If we don't believe we are worthy of starting the business, of being in a loving, committing relationship, of having healthy, empowering friendships, if we don't believe we're worthy of a seat at the table, of writing the book, of running for office, if we don't believe we're worthy of rest, of celebrating your body exactly as it is, of soul care, of doing less and being more, if we don't believe we're worthy of showing up on social media authentically, of leading the team, of breaking the generational cycle, if we don't believe we're worthy because we've made too many mistakes, we've already failed too many times, or because someone told us we weren't worthy and we believe them, if we don't believe we're worthy of all the things we want and deserve, we'll never get them. In life, you don't soar to the level of your hopes and dreams. You stay stuck at the level of your self-worth. You don't rise to what you believe is possible. You fall to what you believe you're worthy of. In your goals and career ambitions, you don't achieve everything that you are qualified for or capable of. You plateau at what you believe you deserve. And whether you know it or not, at the level of success where you've established your own internal identity. In your romantic relationships, the level and depth of intimacy, vulnerability, and love can only be as strong as the level and depth of vulnerable, intimate love you have for yourself. It's the same with your friendships. And in these relationships in life, okay, here's a big one, y'all. This is, okay. In your relationships in life, the level of pain you allow another person to cause you, whether it's through hurtful words or actions, often hovers right around the standards you have for the level and frequency of hurtful thoughts, ways, and words you think and say to yourself. And it's the same with your body. Your body can feel like a source of shame or like a miracle in motion, all depending on your relationship with worthiness. When you change what you believe you're worthy of, you change your entire life. See, we can have big goals and dreams. We can study, get knowledge, get all the biggest degrees on the wall. We can become activists, use our voices. We can know with passion and clarity that what we believe in and what we believe for. We can make vision boards, and we can even distinguish ourselves amongst the rare group of people who actually take action toward getting what we want in life. But if we don't believe deep down inside we're worthy of it, it'll never happen. Or if it does, we won't be able to sustain it. Because in life, we don't get what we want. We get and maintain what we believe we're worthy of. And when deep down inside, we don't believe we're worthy of what we want, hope, and dream for, we'll find a way to lose it or for it to not happen at all. We'll sabotage the opportunity. We'll put the decent guy in the friend zone. We'll ghost a new friend that has pure intentions. We'll make a million excuses why we're not ready to make a career move, don't have the resources or the time or the talent. We'll focus on our problems instead of our potential, because problems can be an easy way to justify playing life small. We might think we have a net worth problem, and what we really have is a self-worth problem. And when we deep down inside don't believe we're worthy of abundance, we sabotage ourselves to make sure that we don't get it. We dim our light to make others feel comfortable and fit in. We tell ourselves stories like, once I get to my goal weight, then I'll be enough. Once I get more experience, then I'll apply for the promotion. Once I get the kids through school, then I'll focus on building a healthy relationship. We'll sit in the audience watching, all while knowing we are born to be on the stage. We'll walk into the room and all while hiding in plain sight, and then we'll start living our lives this way. We'll talk ourselves out of our potential, out of our talent, out of our knowing, out of trusting ourselves, out of our gifts, out of the relationships we deserve, out of getting unstuck, out of making our health a priority, out of asking for the raise, out of launching the idea, out of accepting a mentor's offer, and if we're not careful, out of becoming the person that we're born to be. If one of these examples hits home for you, or you feel like it's a past or present version of yourself, then this book is for you. If you struggle with not believing you're enough or worthy of walking into the big meeting, of being called good parent, of wearing this swimsuit, of receiving unconditional love, of looking in the mirror and seeing everything beautiful, of speaking up, of asking for help, of resting, of setting boundaries, of showing up in this world as you authentically are and as all of who you authentically are, if you struggle with that, this book is for you. I wrote this book for you if you have some self-doubt to destroy and a destiny to fulfill. And I'm so honored to invite you into the pages of this journey together. And I'd like to start by imagining together. See, I can't help but imagine what our world would look like if it was filled with women who decided to believe they are worthy. When I imagine a world full of women who feel worthy, I imagine the earth shaking with the jolt of possibility when we wake up in the morning. Imagine with me, what would a world full of women who decided to believe they're worthy feel like? The potential that would be unleashed, the power of possibility unfolding. Imagine the generational cycles broken. Imagine the unhealthy relationships that would end. Imagine the businesses that would be launched. Imagine the body shapes and sizes that would be celebrated. Imagine the rest that would be taken without guilt. Imagine the cellulite that would be confidently jiggling with joy. Imagine the seats that would be filled up in the boardroom. Imagine what the list of Fortune 500 CEOs would look like. Imagine the mental and physical health that would be prioritized. Imagine how our government would lead. Imagine the injustices that would end. Imagine how children's storybooks would be written. Imagine who little girls would grow up dreaming of being. Imagine the time and capacity that would be freed up when self-doubt is silenced. Can I get an amen up in here? Amen. Imagine, and imagining this is why I wrote this book, with the intention of you not just imagining what your life would be like if you truly felt worthy, but actually learning how to believe you are, because you are. And in your soul, you know that you are. Most of us are born into a world, or even into loving, well-intentioned families that, whether knowingly or not, teach us to believe that we're not. I believe if we choose to, it's possible to unlearn all the lies we've been taught that don't feel right in our soul, take our power back, and decide today is the day to forge a new path ahead. If you feel me, say out loud wherever you are, I'm ready. I'm ready. All right, everyone in the room said it, but don't think I didn't hear you at home not say it. So here's the deal. Listen, if you're not going to be bold here along with me, if you are going to hold back and not be bold, now how are you going to be bold out there, right, when things get hard? So I'm going to say it with you. We're going to say it loud together. Who cares what anyone around you right now thinks? Okay, ready? On the count of 3, we're going to say I'm ready loudly, and we're going to proclaim it together. 1, 2, 3. I'm ready. You don't become what you want. You become what you believe you're worthy of in life, in friendships, in your career, and in your hopes and dreams. And one of the greatest parts of your journey is learning to believe you're worthy and stop hiding, right? That's a big one for so many of us. Learning for the first time, or the first time in a long time, the courage to start raising your hand, or to be the person who leads and encourages others to raise their hand, to discover the true essence of your soul, the real you, and to start living as the real you, not as your achievements, but your innateness that is full and whole and enough, and blossoming toward a new freedom and fulfillment that springs alive when we live in alignment with the true nature of the person we're born to be. When we absolutely know in every ounce of our being that the person who we truly are is enough. When you venture to stop hiding in plain sight, trust your inner knowing, live with congruence with your soul, ignite your purpose, and show up in this world as all of who you are, that's when you truly feel fulfilled and alive. That's when you are living in alignment with your assignment. That is when you become the person you're born to be. That's when you're able to fully live and express the joy and the beauty and the gifts and the ideas and the possibilities of your soul. That's when you can wake up every morning and ask yourself one of life's most powerful questions: what will you do with the power that is you? And then with that power fully tapped into, and because you're no longer hiding from it, you bravely, boldly live the answer. Throughout the pages of this book, I hope you'll laugh, connect, see, and be exactly you every step of the way. Right? We did not come here to play it small or to look cute. We're going to go deep as you are ready to go. You might feel like this book is too much at times, or perhaps it's going to feel like you arrived at the end way too quickly. We'll examine our own self-worth and delve into the lies keeping us doubting ourselves, unlearn those lies, and embrace the truths that wake up worthiness. We'll begin our transformation into living authentically and fulfilling our destinies. There's some chapters packed with tactical tools you can apply to your life right now that have led to breakthroughs for me, like how to redefine rejection, how to rethink the labels you put on yourself, and how to take risks when you have a million reasons why you're afraid to. There's some chapters you might find deeply personal and stir up a lot of thought and emotion, and some might evoke the feeling of heavy reflection. Others might spark joyful, wide-eyed, soul-filling delight. I know how precious the gift of your time is, and I can promise you we're not taking a second of it for granted in this book. I am all in with you, right by your side, and we are going to go there together, okay? Soul to soul, light to light, love to love. The one thing I'm going to ask of you is this. In every story, every lesson, every silly laugh out loud, embarrassing overshare, there are a lot of those. Every vulnerable, soul-stirring revelation, and every deeply challenging question, to trust yourself, to know if it's right for you. And if it's not right for you, or you're not right to consider it, then just skip that part. And you're going to know, because your soul will know at each turn of the book, the parts that are for you at this moment in your journey. You'll know if the timing is, not right to open yourself up in certain ways. It might feel too much. And you're going to know if the timing is just right, and the words feel like they were written exactly for you. You may want to have a journal or pen and paper handy while reading, and as we begin this journey together, I just want to ask that you trust yourself fully. Take the things that feel right for you and leave the rest perhaps for another day or another person you share your book with. And I sure hope that when you are done with Worthy, that you share it with another person, give another person your book. I believe in divine timing and that our steps are divinely ordered in life. And I don't believe it's a coincidence or an accident that you're hearing these words right now. Similarly, in this book, I'm leading you on an intentional journey, one transforming step at a time. Each chapter lays a key piece of the foundation that builds on the next, all crafting a deeply personal worthiness journey intended to expand how you see and unconditionally love yourself, from seeing the importance of and critical difference between self-confidence and self-worth, to unlearning those lies that lead to self-doubt and embracing the truths that wake up worthiness, to transforming your connection to yourself and multiplying your unconditional self-love, to knowing and truly believing in your innate value and worthiness. As we begin this journey, I want to invite you to come with me through the pages and it's who you truly are, not as the role you play at work, not as who you have to be when you're the leader in the room, not as who other people want you to be, not as the version of you that the world rewards, not as the socially conditioned belief systems that you've built, but as the person who sheds all of it, who is willing to show up soul first. Coming soul first, right along with me, is safe here. Knowing this truth, there is nothing you can do or say that could ever make you unworthy of love. I believe we are all here to love, to receive it, to give it, to live it, to be it. And our greatest journey on this earth is to learn how and to truly believe we're worthy of it. My intention in the pages of this book is that you experience the true feeling of home that fills your soul. And there's no greater feeling of home than living in alignment and congruence with your soul, with the true nature of who you are and who you were born to be, fully worthy. And yet, when we aren't living in the truest expression of our souls, it can feel like we're a stranger in our own lives, as if we're living our lives away from our real home. Our souls are our true home, and the words in this book are a love poem from my soul to yours. Let's live in our souls together on this journey. And as we get started, I want you to feel like I'm welcoming you right into my home. When I imagine opening my front door to see you, I will really see you. And you can really see me. And when you walk in, I'm wearing my favorite cozy sweats, no makeup, unwashed hair, and a messy bun, but I did use some dry shampoo because I knew you were coming. And I give you a great big hug while my dogs are jumping on you and kissing you as if they'd never gone through training school. I have your favorite warm drink in a coffee mug ready to greet you. The mug says worthy on it because you are. After I hand it to you, imagine seeing a sign right in front of you on the wall as you walk in. It's how I want you to feel when you walk into my home or into my hug. The sign says, come as you are. Heal where you need. Blossom what you choose. Journey toward your calling. Stay as long as you like. You belong here. You are worthy. You are loved. You are love. I love you, Jamie. Are you ready to get started? Because I am ready if you are. And as you are about to turn the page, I'm imagining reaching my hand right out to yours. Here we go.
I am here today with one of my all-time favorite people, Jamie Kern Lima. Her resume is so long. She's the founder of IT Cosmetics. She's a New York Times bestselling author. Her brand new book is Worthy, and we are digging into the 5 lies that you are telling yourself that are holding you back from reaching your potential. And we are in the middle of covering the first line, which is, you're not crazy. Like all those people that told you that you're crazy, it's a lie. It's a lie. And Jamie's beautiful, empowering rock star reframe, you're just first. You're just the first one in your family to do this. You're just the first one to go to school. You're just the first one to have this idea. So Jamie, I want to add to this conversation and go a little bit deeper because I have a question from a listener named Lisa. Lisa, I have this belief that good things happen to others, but not me. How do I start believing in myself?
Yes. So that is such a common lie that we tell ourselves, that good things happen to other people, but not us. And I was raised around that lie, right? I was raised around that lie that, oh, things like that can't happen to people like us. So my whole family, a lot of my family believes that lie as well. And I remember when I was waitressing at Denny's, I had this moment where I'm like, I think I could run this restaurant, right? I had this moment. But guess what? Self-doubt kicked in really fast. And that lie that she just shared, Lisa just shared, I remember thinking that, oh, but I'm not qualified to do that. People like me don't run the restaurant, right? And so how do you overcome that? So let me just take a step back. Every single thing in life is the meaning we attach to it, right? And we have the power to unlearn that lie because this is a lie.
That's true. That's a story you're telling yourself.
It's the story you're telling
yourself. That things like that don't happen to people like us. That's a lie.
Exactly. It is a lie. And so maybe there's a lot of evidence in the past that makes you go, oh, but I have evidence to prove this. Okay. But first question is, do you want to unbelieve that? Do you want to still continue believing that lie? Because it is a lie, right? I remember hundreds of no's and rejections into IT Cosmetics. So easy for me to say, oh, I'm a person that not only gets rejected, but I'm a reject. Let it take root in my self-worth level. And then that's when it is a powerful lie that becomes hard to unlearn. Things like that don't happen to people like me, right? Is a lie. And learning to reframe that first step, identifying it, which she did so beautifully in that question, now deciding, do I want to believe that? Right? That's the next question, because let me just get really real here. Some of us use our lies as excuses on why something's not happening. So the next question is, do I want to unlearn that lie, right? Because those are just lies that lead to self-doubt, that keep us stuck, that keep us feeling like we're unworthy. Right now, as we're talking, 80% of women do not believe they're enough, right? 91% of girls and women don't love their bodies. 75% of female executives deal with imposter syndrome. 73% of men feel inadequate and like they're not enough, right? So why I wrote Worthy is like the time to unlearn these lies has come. And so for Lisa, great job being aware of the lie. A lot of times we tell ourselves lies, we're not even aware of it. We just think they're truths, right? But guess what? You're the character of your main life. You cannot always control all the supporting actors and actresses that come into your world, but you can control the main character and how you describe her and how you define her and what you want her storyline to be going forward. And so the next question is, do you want to keep that lie, or do you want to unlearn it? If you want to unlearn it, you reframe it, and every time it comes into your mind, you intercept it. You intercept that lie that says things like that don't happen to people like me. You decide, oh, no, my new meaning is things like that haven't happened yet. Oh, but they're going to happen. Like once I step into who I authentically am, I am the first ever only me, and I'm going to live in alignment with my assignment. And I believe, for me, when that lie comes into my head, I'm like, oh, I'm not crazy, I'm first. And I just reframe it and I decide the meaning I attach to my story. I decide what I'm going to believe is going to happen, and I decide that will be my narrative. And the second we do that, right, because what we focus on is what we magnify, and that becomes our whole life. And when you change your story, you change your entire life.
Was there a moment in the building of It Cosmetics where that lie came up for you? You're getting told no, 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 no. And you start to look around and see there's all these other cosmetic brands. Clearly it's happening for other people and it's not happening for someone like me.
Yeah, all the time, all the time. The biggest struggle for me was, and especially as we started getting success, right? It was many years in, but we got a big shot on QVC. So after years of no's, I get a yes on QVC, which is a live television shopping channel for anyone unfamiliar with it, and it's broadcast to 100 million homes, okay? At this moment, Mel, we were selling only 2 to 3 orders a day on our website. And
that's not enough to pay the bills, Jamie.
No.
I don't know if you know that, but that's not enough to pay the
We
bills.
were teetering on bankruptcy for years. And after hearing no after no after no after no, even from QVC, I got a yes for one shot in this 10-minute window to launch the product. And
put everybody at the scene, because
Yes.
this sounds like something that would cause any human being the biggest case of stress diarrhea on live television, because it is an unbelievable pressure cooker,
Yes.
what you have to do. So
Yes.
just for the
Yes.
uninitiated,
Yes.
put us on the set at QVC. You are teetering on bankruptcy.
Yes.
You are only selling 2 of your products every day. Yes. You've been at this for years and years and years, and no, and no, and no. And you're up
Yes.
in your head like, people like me, this doesn't happen to people like me, it happens to them. And,
Yes.
and the lies
Yes.
are coming up. So what
Yes.
do you do at QVC? Like, what do you have to do when somebody says, yes, you can sell your product?
Yeah. So, okay, I learned I had to sell over 6,000 units of this product to hit their sales goal in the 10-minute window.
In 10 minutes?
In 10 minutes, or not come back. And remember, we're only selling two or three orders a day, right? So I go to 20 banks trying to get a loan to fund the inventory to do this. 22 banks said no. The 23rd bank, California Bank and Trust, gave us a loan for just the amount to cover this purchase order and a little bit more to get my one shot on QVC. I learned it's a consignment offer, which means if I don't sell it, I don't get paid. I have to take it all back, right? And everything was on the line. And here's the story about the power of your authenticity, about knowing you're not crazy, you're just first. Because in that moment, I had been told no so many times, right? And we start to doubt, oh, right, that lie. Do things like this possibly happen for people like me? So we figured all out. I get there. All of these third-party consultants are saying, okay, if you want to do well, here's what you need to do. You need to book this type of model to demonstrate your product, which was all like people who look like they're 12 with flawless skin. I'm like, that is not why I created this brand. That's not authentic to why I did this. And I would tell them, these third-party consultants, and they help a lot of people, and they really wanted me to win, right? And I said, well, what if I put a model in her 80s and then women in their 40s and 50s with hyperpigmentation and someone who's dealing with acne? And what if I take my own makeup off on national TV and show my bright red rosacea? And they were mortified.
They're like, you're crazy.
Yes, you're crazy. They said, listen, like you get one shot. They're like, you understand you get one shot, right? And I remember, Mel, I flew out to QVC in Pennsylvania, and a week before I sat in this rental car in the parking lot. Every single day, staring at the front door of the building, like praying, crying in the car, all alone, because I felt like the pressure was so heavy. And in that moment, those lies come up, and I start to doubt myself. And I think, well, maybe I should be inauthentic, try it their way, right? And maybe I'll do well finally, and then I'll make money, and then I could try it my way. I had all of these thoughts come up. And I remember this moment in that car where I these words that, while authenticity alone doesn't automatically guarantee success, inauthenticity guarantees failure. Every time, overtime. You and I, everyone listening, you can see people popping up online everywhere, and maybe they do well for a minute, but this overtime, it does not work. Why is Mel Robbins' podcast the number one podcast? Why? Because look how you show up. Fully authentically, the same way on air as you are off air. I know this lesson, yet I'm sitting there in my car telling myself lies like some of your listeners are writing in, right? Things like this don't happen to me. Everyone's telling me I'm crazy. But I know every single person listening, you are not crazy. You are just first. And when someone does not get you, that's okay, right? You have to align with your authenticity because that's what is your superpower. And I knew that lesson and I was scared out of my mind to trust that, but I did. And I walked into the building, and the moment I walked into the studio, there's these giant clocks on the floor that said 10 minutes. Yeah. I got 10 minutes to hit those sales goals or not come back. And then, Mel, I learned right before I went on air that you're not guaranteed your 10 minutes. If you're a minute or two into your presentation, they know by the second if you're hitting sales numbers. If you're a minute or two in and you're not hitting sales numbers, your clock, you think you have 8 minutes left, it jumps to 1 minute. You're done. So I learned that. And I go on air, and you talk about, you were mentioning Imagine stress diarrhea. I go on air, I'm drenched in sweat. I have on 2 pairs of Spanx under my dress, not because I care what I look like. I was trying to absorb all the sweat so that I didn't sweat through my dress on national TV. And I remember the lights go on, and I was trying to do a demonstration to show how my product doesn't crease and crack on my wrist, and my hand was shaking so much that the host grabbed my hand, put it under the podium. She's like, "Thank you, sugar," and she took over. And I remember the moment on national television, my bright red rosacea comes up, my bare face, and I remember walking over to models every age and shape and size and skin tone and skin challenge and calling them beautiful and meaning it. And I didn't know how we were doing a few minutes in, but I knew I wasn't cut yet. And then we got down to the 1 minute mark left, and I hear the host say, "The deep shade's almost gone. The tan shade's almost sold out." I was like, oh. And then literally the moment the 10-minute mark hit, this giant sold out sign comes up across the screen. I start crying on national television. They cut from me and go to like Dyson vacuum or something. And my husband, I remember this, my husband comes rushing through the double doors of the studio. I'm sobbing. Our very first employee, one of my best friends of 20 years, she was the only person on payroll at the time because we couldn't even afford to pay ourselves. She starts sobbing. My husband comes running over to me, and I thought he's going to hug me. And he just looks at me, and he puts his arms in the air and his fists, and he's like, "We're not going bankrupt." And I'm like, "Real women have spoken," and just like sobbing. And I remember in that moment, right, all the things people told me about me would not work. The years and years of rejection, the retailers that didn't believe in me, making that decision to remind myself, and every person listening right now, I don't know what room you're walking into today, what phone call you're walking into, what Zoom you're walking into, what idea you're about to share, but you're doubting it. You are not crazy. You are just first, right? You're just first. It's why I wrote this poem that just poured out.
Would you read us the poem you wrote?
I will, yes. And what I'll do is, let me read an excerpt of it. It's the only poem in the book. It's called "You're Not Crazy, You're Just First." "Who do you think you are?" they say. "Things like that aren't for people like us. Why are you going around changing? Planning to leave us in the dust? Are you forgetting where you come from? Are we not good enough anymore?" And just like that, the temptation to play life small feels more comfortable than before. If you're doubting you're enough, your thoughts, their words have got you down. It's time for your soul to tell your mind there's a new boss in town. See, there's no one else quite like you in the entire universe. And what your soul knows is you're not crazy. You're just first. The first to have your hopes and dreams. The first you there's ever been. So don't be surprised if they don't get you or try to shame you to fit in. They call you odd, strange, different for having dreams bigger than they can see because those dreams weren't given to them. They see them through fear and anxiety. And even the well-intentioned people who love you to the bone can see you pursuing your dreams as a reminder of them not fulfilling their own. If people like people who are like them, hiding your true self's a comfort zone. But a calling unexpressed inside you leaves you feeling anguished and alone, even inside of your own home. They call you words like crazy and say, we stick together for better or for worse. But what your knowing knows is you're not crazy, you're just first. The first to launch the business, to dust your dreams off of the shelf. The first to believe you're worthy of betting on yourself. The first to beat addiction, to live life sober and awake. The first to end the generational cycle that you know you're born to break. The first to start healing. The first to forgive so you'll be free. The first to love others for who they are, not for who you wish they'd be. And when doubt tempts you to dim your light, always remember this verse. Your soul knows you're made for more, with so much purpose it could burst. You're born with greatness inside you, and whether it's a blessing or a curse, the world won't be better until your greatness is dispersed. See, there's only one of you in the entire universe, and your knowing knows deep down you're not crazy, you're just first.
Oh, wow.
Are you crying, Mel Robbins?
Well, I'm just sitting here. I'm very proud of you. What does that mean to you?
It means freedom. When you unlearn those lies that lead to self-doubt, oh my gosh, and you start to ignite those truths that wake up worthiness, like that is what that feels like joy and tastes like freedom. Like that is when we start to feel alive, right? That is when the weight of other people's expectations or even the ones we put on ourselves starts to lift. Like we don't soar to the level of our goals and dreams. We stay stuck at the level of our self-worth, right? We don't rise to what we believe is possible. We will always fall to what we believe we're worthy of. You will never feel joy and fulfillment in life until you learn to embrace who you truly are and learn to believe you are enough as who you are. And that is the truth. Every person listening, I do not care how many past mistakes and failures and regrets, and none of that is relevant when it comes to your worth. And when we learn that, it is the most powerful thing we can do.
A lot of people, they have a vision. Okay, you're going to take a cross-country road trip. Let's use this metaphor. You're taking a cross-country road trip. In your mind, it's going to be beautiful and scenic and perfect, and you're so excited about it. And then, you know what, about halfway through, you kind of look in the back seat and there's Dorito bags and Diet Coke, and your car is a disgusting mess, and you're about to pee on yourself. You're looking for the next rest stop. You're like so exhausted and so tired. You're like, you need a break. It's just like, yes, you're living the vision. You're on the route. You're on the road. But be okay with the hot mess. Don't take yourself so seriously. And here's the thing I wish I would have said on day one of Vision Week. For all of you, if you had a clue that you were already living a vision beyond comprehension, that you're already living the most gifted, impossible vision. It's like, yes, you have plans, but God has vision, as you say, right? It's like you have to realize if you're watching this, if you're streaming this, if you have the moment of leisure, the beat of the day to get to enjoy us, to be here for encouragement, to have a worldwide community like this come together every day for you free, you have to understand you already are living the vision. Now the ultimate question is, are you enjoying it? Now the ultimate question, are you giving into that? Are you contributing? Are you earning the vision of your life that you've already been granted? Like my story, Jamie, is, I had a car accident when I was 19, which most of the audience knows. And that accident made me have reverence for life, deeply care about life. And the main theme that came away from that for me personally was when I asked and I thought about my life, I was bleeding out on the top of the hood of this car. And in that moment, when I looked down, I felt life draining out, literally. And I wondered, did I matter? And I didn't like the answer to that question. And I looked up and I had this beautiful connection with the moon and the night and God, my creator. And I just remember feeling a breath of fresh air. I knew things were going to be okay. Something happened. And I had this connection. And I just remember my first impulse after if you survive something, I don't know how some people, but I survived something. And I just was like, I will earn this. I will earn this blessing of a second chance. I want to earn my life. I will earn my life. I will earn this gift that I have been given. For me, I'm a person of faith, so I believe God gave us life. And I believe that is a blessing. And I want to earn it. And so I'm already here. Are you earning it by enjoying it and taking pleasures in beauty, surrounding nature, life's gifts, the coincidences, the fun, the obligations too? You know, remember, you wanted the child, okay? It's like, you wanted the career. You hustled the last 5 nights. You have to enjoy it. You're already living the vision if you only knew.
So good. So good. Wow. I think that's huge. I think that's huge. Yeah, and I agree with you. People here that are part of Growth Day, that are even just mindful of all this stuff. Yeah, that's huge. They're on the vision. I also think too, Brendan, if you could talk about this a little bit, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I believe, did your car accident happen? Was it somewhere in the Caribbean or Latin or South America? And then didn't you kind of always have this vision one day you would actually live on a island in the Caribbean? And can you talk about like how your experience, if it in any way played part of your vision one day, maybe they were separate, but then also how you spent the years and all of that, having that vision as well, not just to enjoy the day and all those, but just also sometimes it's things, and maybe we never end up living on an island, but just like for you, what did that mean to you? And then how many years went by in between your car accident into when you're now living? We see the behind you, it's so gorgeous out there. But just that whole thing of knowing that vision. I feel like I heard you once share, maybe it was at your event, that, I'll let you tell it. You tell it. Yeah. That you always kind of thought you'd live on an island one day.
Yeah, the accident happened in the Dominican Republic. I'm a kid from Montana, so this is a super long story, but I'm a kid from Montana, and I'd been depressed and suicidal after a breakup with the girl I loved, my high school sweetheart. And I basically got the opportunity, a job ad, to go down and work in the Dominican Republic. They needed students, basically people to work for free. So I took a student job, went down there, and worked with an entrepreneur from Montana, and got in an accident. And but through that accident, that time down there, I fell in love with the Caribbean. And I mean, I fell in love. I'd never seen anything like it. I'm from Montana, from the mountains, I'm from the hills, I'm from the lakes. I'm a river boy. I was like, what? Fell in love with that turquoise, perfect blue water and ocean. I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I got in that water one time in the Caribbean. I was like, I'm alive. And so I said, I just want to live here. And so I did. I went back to college in Montana, and I ended up having this board. I didn't know what it was called at the time, but I had all these things pinned up. I'm sure you all have these things in your dorm rooms or in your houses. You had these things. So I had all these things pinned up. But if you looked, it was all my pictures from the Caribbean. It was like palm trees and just, I didn't know it was like a vision type board. It was just all these things. And from that time to the time we moved down here would be, let's see, 23 years almost. 20 plus years. I'll do the math in my head in a minute. But in that time, I thought, you know what, Jamie, one day I'll move to the Caribbean. And then a couple of years ago, I was like, why haven't I done it yet? Why am I waiting for retirement to do it? That's Puerto Rico. It's beautiful. I live on a beach. That turquoise water is my morning reality. And it took 20 years. 20 years. But you know what it really took? The decision to do it. Because I could have waited another 15 years. But at some point, you got to go for it. Jamie at some point said, I'm going to start my own cosmetic line. That was crazy. But from that moment you did that to the moment you sold to L'Oreal for $1 billion, how many years was that?
8.
8. Oh, you're so much better at math than I am. Okay, 8 years. So, but it would, if she didn't ship that first product, If she hadn't gone and pitched it, if she didn't try to sell it, 8 years later, she sells the company for $1.2 billion. $1 billion? I always get it wrong. And once you go past $1 billion, it's all just monopoly money in my mind. I don't know. But you got to understand, those 8 years, she also put in an unbelievable, ridiculous amount of work.
Yeah.
And difficult days. And I think it's just so important for y'all to understand, sometimes your work and your difficult days, that is living the vision. Don't forget that.
Yeah, it's like there's big picture, long-term vision, right? Because that big kind of mission is what helped me get through all the years of rejection. But then also just, every day you are living the vision. You know what I mean? And I love that you started out today with like a real behind the scenes moment. Which, by the way, let me just keep it real here. I didn't know if you'd ever go there on this morning show, because I met you by doing a keynote speech on your stage with thousands and thousands of people in the audience. I have now had the blessing of hearing from thousands of people that you've inspired, right? There's people that see you on stage. Of course, you're real on stage and all that. I didn't know, though, because it's the first time I think this has ever happened where we're like in our homes and we're going live, and there's no frameworks and scripts, although you certainly share them, which is such a gift. But we're just like, I didn't know how real you're going to be. So when you kicked off this morning, sharing the real.
She sees me dancing in front of 2,000. How more real and vulnerable can you be?
I do.
I'm a horrible dancer, and I'm dancing in front of 2,000 people, not once, not twice, like 8 times a day.
Anyway. So here's my theory. Nobody is a horrible dancer if they fully commit. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
Right?
Amen. Time it out.
Listen, anyone out there, whether you're on a dance floor, you're at a Brendan Burchard event, or anywhere else, if the person fully commits,
gotta commit.
It's the best dancer in the room.
Best dancer.
It doesn't matter if they're off the beat. It doesn't matter what's going on or how much space they're claiming. If they commit, it's the best. It's the best. And you commit. So listen, you cannot call yourself a bad dancer. You commit, and you commit on stage fully in front of thousands of people, and you bring the joy, and you cannot fake authenticity. So everyone
you do too. If you all have not seen the gift of Jamie Kern Lima speaking on stage, I mean, obviously she's amazing in this Growth Day morning show, but it is a different thing to see a woman own the stage in front of 2,000 people in such a way that they are crying and they open their heart and they're laughing. And more importantly, they commit to their vision, because they hear Jamie go, I mean, she committed. She committed to a vision, and she was okay suffering through our vision for our life, we think, is an end game. It's an outcome. It's a day of perfection. Everything goes good. But the question is, are you living into the vision and enjoying it as it's happening? As it's happening is the magical trick, because lots of people get to the end goal and they're not happy.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the end goal. The vision is the journey. The journey is the vision. And so if you can feel it and enjoy it, everyone always asks, are you proud of something in your career, Brendan? And the number one thing I'm proud of, and I can say with true commitment and just knowing the industry, I've done it happier than anyone I know. Any of my legends, I'm happier. Any of the people I've had, I just know I'm happier throughout the journey. After, this is my 20th year. I don't know anyone who's been happier along the way, and did it their authentic way, their style. And I'm not saying, because look at me, I'm saying I made sure that happened. I said, bring the joy. I wear a shirt that says, bring the joy. Because sometimes I'm a grumpy bear in the morning. Ask Denise. I'm like, because I'm a night owl. So some days I wake up as the grumpy bear. Night owls are sometimes grumpy bear in the morning. So I'm just like, actually not grumpy. I just say non-communicative, just more like. So I think it's important, y'all. Live and enjoy the vision. You are.
And I think you sharing that you've done it that happy for this long is such a victory. And I just want to say, those of us who, we can make changes to do that. And I'm just speaking as someone who spent a lot of years working 100-hour weeks, and I forgot to enjoy a lot of moments. Like I forgot to celebrate some big wins when they were finally happening. And I'm making shifts in my life right now to enjoy the day more, to bring the joy more, to feel it more. Like truth is, Brendan, in the middle of this book launch, like my book comes out in 3.5 weeks. And so what I'm doing right now is all day press. This morning, I was so tired. I put makeup on top of yesterday's makeup that I fell asleep in for press today. Now, the me before in the past would be like, oh, I would have thoughts of like, oh, I hope this is going to look okay. Now I'm like, this is freaking funny, because how cool is this that I'm just going to like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to think that it's actually part of the journey, that I'm like blessed enough to have press happening where, you know what, I'm tired, but I'm going to show up anyway, I fell asleep in my makeup, but put makeup on top of makeup so that I have all day press, like, but I'm going to enjoy it and not, and it's the journey, right? Imperfectly. So you in your underwear with smoothie, me with my 2 days of makeup in a row, and I'm going to pray that the press goes well today for the book launch. But like, it's in it. We're all in it. And I love
showing up for it.
Yeah.
You're showing up for it. Showing up. Shout out to Larry King, my mentor and friend who died this Saturday. I've got this clip of him and I talking, and he just goes, those who succeed, they just show up for it more, and we're showing up for the vision. Jamie and I have this vision. We're going to encourage people. It doesn't mean every day we show up with a complete plan and a framework and our messaging figured out. Sometimes it's like we're just, she's getting the final makeup thing applied, and I'm like getting the shirt on. Like it's you have to understand. Just be in the vision, live the vision each day, even if it's not the whole day, even if it's not perfect. Her and I are both going to have to do administrative crap and emails, just like you're all going to have to do today. But we start the day with intention to be in the vision of personal growth. This is what Growth Day is about. Growth Day. We literally started, I actually own growth.com, the website, but we started the brand and said, no, we're going to call it Growth Day. We're going to call it Growth Day. We want to remind you every day is a day to start anew, choose a new attitude, take the next action, learn more, say sorry, show up with joy, reset, forgive, start something. Every day is a good day to grow. Growthday.com. That was so huge for me. I want people to know every day is that chance. Every day you can earn it. Every day you can earn this life. Every day you can earn that vision. Every day you can be part of it, enjoy it, and feel it. Even if you have down days, bad days, suck days, difficulties. Jamie and I are working our tails off. I'll share one last idea. Jamie's launching a book in 4 weeks. It's called Believe It. I hope you will pre-order. I know tons of you guys already have, so thank you. Make sure you order Believe It on Amazon. It's for pre-order.
I sleep with it now. It's always next to me.
You got to show it all the time. Yeah. So go make sure you pre-order on Amazon. But listen to this. Jamie, I want to tell you this. This is such a huge compliment to you, and I hope you can receive it. The month that your book comes out, another 15,000 books will be released. Like major trend books, if you will, from major publishers and mid-tier publishers, 15,000 some books. We're not even talking about the self-published or just the post on Amazon or people put in PDF on their websites. No, straight up major publishers, mid-tiers. We're talking about 15,000 books that month. The reason Jamie's going to be on the New York Times bestseller list is because she hungers for that vision and will do what is required for it, even though it's hard. And I want to say this. A lot of people woke up today with the same vision you have for life. You got to ask yourself, are you earning it? Because they're going to say, I'm going to hustle today. I'm going to earn it today. Someone will outwork you. Someone will outperform you. Someone will desire. Someone will get to work. Someone will go for it because that vision to them means something. They're committing it, living it on the daily, even when it's hard, more than you. That's why Growth Day, on the daily, that vision commitment. So you want that extraordinary outcome. I promise, out of those 15,000 people being published next month, very few of them, 10 will be on the New York Times bestseller list that week out of 15,000. Jamie's going to be there because she committed that vision a year and a half ago and has slayed every day, even though it hurts. So I'm telling you all, commitment to that vision. Jamie, I'm so proud of you for how hard you've worked, because you don't need to. You don't need to, but you want this book to change lives, and it will, guys. So make sure you pre-order it. Believe it. Jamie's book on Amazon. I'm so proud of you, Jamie. You're crushing.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock this house and welcome to the stage, Jamie Kern Lima!
Baby Kern Lima!
Every single one of us has had someone tell us we're not enough. Every single one of us has had someone say words to us that hurt.